What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Lutties-lookback. My name is Nick Luttrell. We've got a packed show today, one of which includes everything you might have missed from this past weekend, and specifically the NFL draft. Two former Hogs and a lot more going, two former Hogs going to the draft and a lot more going in the free agency process. That's the fun part of the show that you'll want to stick around for, but now we gotta let our frustrations out for this Arkansas baseball team. Arkansas, they lose their third straight SEC series over the weekend, the first time that's happened in 9 years. My three big things, you see them behind me, from the two losses, and they did get one win, so there is some positives. I'll probably get to more of those later for Arkansas and their loss at Florida. The first one, death by 1,000 cuts type of game, especially in Game 3, that game that we saw yesterday. The second big thing, clutch hitting, it needs some work. It's struggling right now for Arkansas. And the big point number 3, this is still a good team. It's just not looking like it after a little bit. It's just not looking like one, I should say. It's not looking like a good team right now. Now, we'll circle back to my first point. And again, this is more going back to Sunday's game and Friday's game, not as much with Saturday's. But it just seemed like one hit after another kept piling on that really hurt Arkansas. And you saw it the most in Sunday's game, where it hurt to have Landon Beidleshees not be on his A game. For him to only go 2 innings, that really affected Arkansas. They went to their bullpen pretty quickly, and nobody from their bullpen seemed to want to be pitching a good baseball game yesterday. And that was a problem. One hit after the other. That was a little bit of Sunday. Let's go back to Friday. And I just want to go through how they scored all their runs on Friday and on Sunday. On Friday, they scored on an error, a single, and a home run. On Sunday, a double, a ground out, a single, double, homer, and a fielder's choice. So it was just one of those games where it's like, they don't quickly all of a sudden, oh, wow, they're up by 3. They just hit a 3-run home run. The crowd's going crazy. It was base hit here, base hit there, stolen base here, wild pitch here. It just seemed like one thing after another, one little tiny cut, and that's what killed the Hogs. In Sunday's game, in Friday's game, they get the win Saturday, which we're kind of cutting out as far as my discussion here, as far as this big point number 1. They do get the win Saturday, but in Friday and Sunday, it was just little things, one after the other. And even, I know this is getting off topic a little bit, even if you want to look at Saturday's game, the lone game that Arkansas won, they scored 7 runs. They won 7-0. 4 of those runs were unearned, I believe, either 3 or 4. Can't remember. I don't think I wrote that down, but I think there was 4 errors on the day. So three earned runs for Arkansas, I guess, if you want to call it that way. 4 errors by Florida in that game. So Florida kind of handed them the game on Saturday. Arkansas did look good, and their pitching looked good. Now, we'll give it to the pitching on Saturday. It was great with the start from Gage Wood. It was really good, so good to see him back doing well. And then came Gabe Gackle, and then Aiden Jimenez to finish it off. So that was great. Pitching was great Saturday. But even hitting Saturday was a little bit of a struggle. They got a lot of their runs because of errors by Florida. And when Florida cleaned up those errors, we saw what happened in yesterday's game when they kind of dominated Arkansas. So that's my first big point, death by 1,000 cuts type of game, type of series for Arkansas against Florida. My second big point, the clutch hitting needs some work. Left on base, let's look at it. Here's how many players, how many base runners they left on base this weekend. 22 in total. 4 on Friday night, okay, not too bad. 8 on Saturday, and then 10 on Sunday. And Coach Van Horn's going to talk about here in a second, but you just can't have that, especially on the road in the SEC. Doesn't matter who it's against. You need to hit the ball when it matters. And the game on Saturday, they had, I think it was Friday. The game on Friday, and I know that's they only had a couple or 4 left on base on Friday, but I think they scored most of their runs, if not all, on home runs, on solo home runs, which those are great. I love more than anything watching Arkansas hit a home run. But I just kind of miss, like, all right, let's get a single. Let's pop a double out there. And not just a double when no one is on or when someone's on first. Let's do that when there's runners on the corners or when there's runners on second and third or when their bases are loaded. Let's hit the ball well. Let's have some clutch genes. And that's just not what we've seen out of Arkansas. And it's frustrating. It really is. That this team sometimes can play good baseball and other times not so much. So before I get on to my last point, let's hear from Dave Van Horn and what he had to say about clutch hitting and about one other point that he noticed from the game yesterday and from the series as a whole.
Well, we just have to get better at a few things. Number one, we got to have a little better clutch hitting. Left too many runners out there, and kind of the same thing happened on Friday. And Friday we struck out too many times. Kind of corrected that last couple of days, but couldn't really get the big hit. So that happened. He kind of runs in streaks a little bit, but starting pitching got to get better. Got to show us a little more, and that'd be the two things that jump out at me right away.
Yeah, two things: clutch hitting and starting pitching. I already talked about clutch hitting. I kind of hinted at it a little bit, but the biggest area I noticed that if you're watching the game, you noticed it. The ninth inning in yesterday's game, the tying run comes to the plate in Kohio Eloy. 1 out, bases are loaded. Kohio has a really good at bat. We'll give him that, but he striked out. You just can't have a strikeout in that type of scenario. I know he wanted to hit a home run, but he didn't do anything. He got the pitch count up, I guess you could say. It's better than striking out on 3 pitches. He had the 10-pitch at-bat, which is really impressive, but he doesn't get a run home. And then the next guy steps up to plate, and he doesn't do anything either. He lines out to second base. I think that was, I think it might have been Gabe Frazier. And that's another thing with this team, and that'll lead into my last point here, big point number 3. It's still a good team. It's just not looking like one. Not right now. And I think a big part of that is I think there's just inconsistency right now to the lineup. Ever since Nolan Souza got hurt a few weeks ago, I think it was in that Georgia series, the team just felt a little bit different since then. And that's unfortunate. Nolan Souza is a great player. He was a starting second baseman for this Arkansas team. But I don't think he was good enough to completely change who Arkansas is as a baseball team. But that's kind of what it seems like it has happened. They just haven't found a consistent lineup to get guys going. And partially, that's a good thing. That's a good excuse to have. That's a good problem to have when you have so many talented baseball players. Arkansas, there's probably guys who are backup third-string center fielders that could go to any other school, maybe not in the SEC, but any other school and be a starter, be a star player. Any of Arkansas's players could go to Missouri right now and be their best player. That's saying something. Oh, well, not really. I mean, that's saying that Arkansas is really good at baseball. That's saying Missouri is really not good at baseball. I digress. But the lineup is still getting figured out. And that's one of the things that I think people ask, what's wrong? What's going on with this Arkansas baseball team? I think that's one of them. I think it's the lineup. I think inconsistency is an issue right now. So those are the negatives. All right, Nick, you're probably asking, what are the positives? And let me answer that question. I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot right now. And I know there's more out there. I just don't want to talk about them. The biggest thing I see right now is that if they're going to slump and fall into a losing streak or not play good, I'm okay with it happening right now as long as they hit their stride in a month. A month from now, 4.5 weeks from now, regionals will start. Postseason play will start. And Arkansas just can't do what it's done the past 2 years, and that's lose at home in the regionals. They can't do that. It can't happen. It can't happen. 3 years in a row, it can't happen. So if Arkansas is going to pick a time to be like, we're not playing too good right now, I'd rather it be right now than a month from now when they're losing at home, falling into the same pattern that they've done year after year. So if they're going to play bad right now, get it figured out. Get it figured out right now. I know it's late in the it's kind of late in the season. You don't want it to happen right now. But it's baseball, It's baseball. You can figure things out. I think teams just fall into slumps sometimes a little bit. And it's not in any particular area Arkansas is playing really poorly in right now. There are some areas where it's like, they're not pitching. A few pitchers aren't doing their job. A few guys aren't getting clutch hits. But they're still hitting the ball well. They're still driving up the pitch count. Look, there's the positive, right? Got to focus on the positive. I think that's one of them. I would like to hope if they're going to play bad, let it be right now. And how about a month from now, you hit your stride? And I know they got a challenging schedule coming up. Number 1 Texas comes to town this weekend. And then they go to Baton Rouge at number 7 LSU. Then back home against number 6 Tennessee. That's 3 top 10 matchups. So it's hard to be confident when you have a schedule like that going into the rest of the season. And I'm not super confident. I'm just not right now. And it's hard to be. But maybe they can turn it around. Maybe they'll surprise me. Again, they're not playing good right now, but I still think they're a really good team, and they have a lot of potential. All right, that's enough Arkansas baseball talk. Let's go to softball now. They lost Game 3 yesterday on the road, but they do upset number 2/1, whatever rankings you want to look at. They upset. All right, let's just say it. They upset the number 1 team in the country, Texas A&M, twice. They beat them on Friday. They beat them on Saturday. Arkansas softball, on the flip side to baseball, playing really good right now. Playing like one of the hottest teams in the country. I think they were number 8, number 9, whatever poll you want to look at, leading into this past weekend's series against the number 1 team or number 2 team in the country. Now, when the polls come out tomorrow, man, you put them up a little bit higher. They could be pushing top 5. And that's impressive. I don't know if I can remember a time when Arkansas softball was top 5 in the country. And really, it's kind of crazy because they just didn't start out well to the SEC play. And they're like 5th or 6th in the SEC right now. It's a tight and loaded SEC conference right now. But this past weekend, great win for Courtney Deifel's team. 7-5 win on Friday, 7-4 close win on Saturday, and then just didn't get the bats going for whatever reason on Sunday. 2-0 loss. 2 stars from the weekend, as they typically are in the 3 and 4 spot of the batting order. Ella McDowell, the 4 spot, the cleanup hitter, the freshman, the third baseman for this Arkansas softball program. Pretty good. 5 hits, 11 at-bats, 3 RBIs, 1 home run. She's playing really good. She's playing like one of the best freshmen in the country right now. And then, of course, there's Bree Ellis. 4 of 8 on the weekend, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs, both of which came in Saturday's win for the Hogs against the Aggies. What you want to see? This is what you want to see, them playing good right now. And softball is a week further along in its season than baseball is. So they've got one regular season, maybe a week or 2, I should say. They've got one regular season matchup. Maybe 2. They might have 2. No, I think they just have 1. I know they have 1 home series left, and that's against LSU this upcoming weekend. So they're hitting their stride right now. It's what you want to see. The top 10 LSU team coming to town on Thursday. So we'll see if softball can continue to head in the right direction, which it looks like they are, which is definitely a good sign. So that's baseball and softball for the Hogs. Let's go to the NFL draft now. 2 former Hogs and 1 former UCA Bear drafted over the weekend. In case you missed it, Isaac TeSlaa, the first Razorback picked off the board. A little surprising that it wasn't Landon Jackson. Landon Jackson, though, came 2 picks later. TeSlaa in the 3rd round, the 70th pick to the Detroit Lions. Landon Jackson also in the 3rd round, the 72nd pick to the Buffalo Bills. David Walker, Central Arkansas's David Walker. Yes, Central Arkansas UCA, the program that is in the FCS ranks, a program that doesn't have many players go through there and go on to the NFL, let alone get drafted in the 4th round. That's David Walker, and he's a pretty special player. We'll get to him a little bit later, but David Walker, the highest pick in NFL pick in UCA football history. 4th round, 122nd pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's talk about all 3 of them, and then we'll talk about some free agents that have signed contracts with other teams this past weekend. We'll start with Isaac TeSlaa. He's a guy who grew up just a few hours away from the team that he'll now be playing for. Here is his reaction. And you check out this video here. You can hear when he's on the phone, he says, "Thanks, Miss Ford." Miss Ford is the owner of the Lions. And you can see that his family, his friends, all those people who are from that area, they get pretty excited.
Okay, yes, sir. How's it going? Thank you, Mrs. Ford.
Man, what a special moment to grow up just a few hours outside of Detroit, to grow up a Lions fan, and now to get drafted by that team. What a special moment for Isaac TeSlaa. So that was his reaction to hearing that phone call, and that's a special thing for any college player to receive that call and say, "Hey man, you've made it to the NFL, you're getting drafted, but also by your hometown team." That's really special, and just the reaction from his friends and family, just going crazy. That's my favorite part of draft season is those type of videos, which we've got more of later. Before we get to some of the other players, I do want to hear from this cool quote from the Lions, the Detroit Lions, the general manager Brad Holmes, on that special Detroit connection for TeSlaa.
He came on his top 30 of his. He had on a Lions jersey, and I thought he just did like a cheesy move just to like, some fanboy stuff and I'm just like, oh, come on, you didn't put the Lions jersey on. But he said, no, I've had it since the 8th grade, and he's like, what better time to wear it than now? And so I really respected that. But no, he grew up as a Lions fan through and through.
Yeah, I love that. Wearing a Lions jersey to your visit to try to get them to pick you. I don't know if that's why he specifically wore it, but he wore it because he's a fan, because that's just what he does. So that's really cool. Isaac TeSlaa, a standout wide receiver. In case you didn't follow much of Arkansas football this past season, he was one of the go-to targets for Taylon Green. He wasn't a guy who got in the end zone a lot, just like Andrew Armstrong, and Armstrong was one of the top receivers in the SEC, statistically speaking, as far as receiving yards. Not touchdowns, though. So you're not going to see a lot of him getting in the end zone. But apparently he had a really good draft combine. That's what raised his stock from being probably a 5th-round pick, to all the way up to the 3rd round and picked by the Lions. And a Lions team that is, I think, second. This past season was second as far as offensive points they put up per game. Jared Goff leading the way at quarterback. Now TeSlaa is going to be hopefully one of the go-to wide receivers, so that'll be fun watching him play in the pros. So that is TeSlaa. Now, we'll talk about Landon Jackson, who came 2 picks later for Mr. TeSlaa, picked by Buffalo. Here's the call that he received from the Bills, and then his reaction afterwards.
Landon, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man?
You doing all right?
I'm good.
You excited? I love it, man.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Where are you at? You with your family?
Yeah, I'm back home.
Back home. And listen, we're excited about you. We're excited you're still here, and you're going to really help us out, man. Love how you play. Love your play style.
Hey, sir, I appreciate you. You're getting a f***ing dog.
I love it. I love that. That's awesome. Well, listen, got a few coaches, starting with Coach McDermott wants to say hello to you, and then we're going to get you up here tomorrow. I look forward to seeing you in person, buddy.
Yes, sir. That sounds great.
All right, here's Coach McDermott.
Hey, buddy, congrats, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
You're going to make me cry, man. You crying over there, buddy. Hey, man, great moment for you and your family, right? Great moment, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Enjoy this,
Thank
man.
you.
You've earned it. You're our type
Yes,
of
sir.
guy, our type of player. Come in, do a great job, and can't wait to have you here in Buffalo with us, man. You're going to love it.
Yes, sir. I'm ready to work.
Honestly, didn't think it was real. I knew the Bills were big on me throughout this whole process, but I just did not think it was real. My phone said potential spam risk whenever they called, so I thought I was getting pranked, to be honest with you. Then my wife said, "Go ahead and pick it up. I think it's somebody." And then I picked it up, and they said, "This is the Buffalo Bills." I said, "This is Landon Jackson. Thank y'all for calling."
Really special there for Landon Jackson, picked by the Bills. You just watched the reaction video there. I haven't been able to track down the other end of that phone call. Obviously, we heard the audio, we heard the emotions from Jackson there as he sounds like he's bawling, which understandably you get to achieve a dream of making it into the NFL. A lot of athletes act that way, but it's just funny. A big old tough NFL player just absolutely bawling. But I haven't been able to find the other side of that video as far as a visual of what he looks like on the phone call. I guess it's not out there. I think I would have seen it by now. But a special moment there. And then you saw him afterwards talking to the media and thinking it was a prank call. Just moments like that, again, makes me really enjoy the whole NFL draft process. And guys that we get to cover here in our THV 11 area, and former Razorbacks now getting to play in the pros. So really special. Jackson, a really special player as well. The Bills are getting a decently good Bills defense. Now he'll make them even better. So really special for Jackson. The last one, you saw the two former Razorbacks, Landon Jackson and Isaac Tesla. Now, I just mentioned it earlier, the UCA Bear, David Walker, as he also received the call of a lifetime.
With the 121st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select David Walker, linebacker, Central Arkansas.
All right, there it is for David Walker, headed to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are getting a really special player. He's one of those guys you're probably taking a little bit of a risk drafting him because he's played against FCS competition. He hasn't played in the he hasn't even played in the FBS. He hasn't played in the SEC. He hasn't faced off against those really good offensive linemen. That was maybe the concern for him going into the draft process. But apparently he performed really well at the Senior Bowl, the Reese's Senior Bowl. He performed really well there against other really good college athletes, and he also performed well at the Combine. So obviously that alone, and just being the elite specimen that he is, playing the unique role of either kind of a linebacker or a defensive end, and obviously now he's headed off to the Tampa Bay Bucs, kind of middle of the line defense. So we'll see what he's able to do with him there. And you never know with these guys who are drafted. They could get drafted and make an impact in a year or two. They could get drafted and never see playing time. So someone like Tesla, as a third-round pick, possibly, can get playing time pretty quickly. Landon Jackson, yes. David Walker, maybe not as much. Maybe have a little bit of more patience there to wait his turn. I honestly don't know. I don't follow NFL that closely, as you guys might know. My friends know that. More of a college football fan. But I'm a big David Walker fan. He's headed to the NFL. So those are the three drafted. Let's take a look now at where everyone else is headed in case you missed it. I do want to mention, before I forget, let's talk about UCA first in that column. We talked about David Walker being drafted to the Bucs. Shunderick Powell, a really stellar running back, but undersized obviously a little bit, headed to the Eagles in an undrafted free agent contract. And I wasn't able to list him here because this just broke recently. Tamarian Wilson, another guy for the UCA Bears that was a stud this past season, is also signing a free agent contract. Now let's go to the Hogs on the left side. Isaac Tesla, Landon Jackson, who we just talked about, and then the undrafted free agents, Eric Gregory, Kevin Rose, Andrew Armstrong, the big one many thought would get drafted, especially when he thought would be drafted higher than Tesla, did not get drafted. But he is headed to the Dolphins, so hopefully he can contribute there and make good playing time. Tyrone Broden headed to the Seahawks, which is kind of interesting because he just never really seemed to get things going this past season. But that's the beauty of the NFL draft. He didn't play that great, but he's got a pretty good skill type. He's tall, and that's about it. He's really tall. So that's going to help him. Maybe he'll get better at learning how to catch the ball. That'd probably help. But Danico Slaughter headed to the Jags, as well as Jaquindon Jackson, as you might remember, the star running back for the Hogs this past season. Marquise Cuddy Robinson headed to the Baltimore Ravens, and then Hudson Clark headed to the Raiders. That is the Razorbacks, the Bears, and then of course Arkansas State. Didn't have anybody drafted. The one who we thought might get drafted that did go through the Combine. I think the only Red Wolf to go through the Combine, Jacob Bayer, he is headed to the Bills with Landon Jackson. So maybe Landon Jackson and him will be going face-to-face because he is a offensive lineman. Jackson is a defensive lineman. Trevion Thomas headed to the Panthers, and then Courtney Jackson, the wide receiver, punt return specialist. He is headed to the Broncos. And then lastly, from Southern Arkansas University, SAU, Melvin Smith Jr. was not drafted, but pretty cool for him. He is signed an undrafted free agent contract. All right, that is enough NFL talk. Some other baseball and softball scores from around the state. We'll start with UAPB. We were going to have their head coach on the show today, but we decided to push that back to maybe a few weeks from now before they hopefully qualify for their conference tournament. It's looking good for them right now. Then we'll talk with Logan Stout because he was going to be here today, but we'll talk with him in a few weeks. He's always a pleasure to talk to. But let's talk about UAPB. We don't get to talk to their head coach, but I'll give you all the knowledge that I have on them, and it's a really good team right now as far as in the SWAC standings go. And they're not a team that's number one in the SWAC, but they just beat a team that was number one in the SWAC. So maybe they're not number one, but they're climbing. Excuse me. And they're getting better as the season progresses. They had 6 wins heading into conference season. Now they have, I think it's 11 conference wins. That's their most since 2018, as you see behind me. And then over the weekend, you see the wins on Friday, Saturday. They almost had this sweep, but no doubt losing, even though they lost Sunday's game, winning 2 out of the 3 against Bethune-Cookman, the first time that has happened in program history. 2 players, they've had a couple of them that are playing good right now. Eli Grease-Smith leading the team in batting average and RBIs. The center fielder it's a pretty special talent. He's playing good right now. Had a couple hits, a few hits, I should say, over the weekend. And then Carlos Rodriguez-Velez, I think he was the co-conference player of the week this past week, and he's been playing really good. So good to see UAPB doing well, the baseball program doing well. We'll continue to keep an eye on them, and then, as I mentioned, have Logan Stout join the show here in a few weeks. Some other softball and baseball scores from around the state. Little Rock swept by Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, which isn't a bad team to get swept by. SIUE is second in the conference, so that's all right for Little Rock, but they're kind of trending in the wrong direction right now. They were on an 8-game win streak. Now they've lost 6 in a row, so they're struggling a little bit. They're now one of the bottom 4 teams in a really tight race in the OVC. Still got a couple weeks of play to bolster their record and try to get up to a higher spot. And all that matters is you play good in the conference tournament. In a league like this, they're not going to get an automatic bid. You got to win your conference tournament. So we'll see if Little Rock can do that. That's Little Rock. UCA, they have struggled this season, but they did better this past weekend, taking down Bellarmine 2 out of the 3, winning the series. Tanner Allen, Zeb Allen have both, I wrote that name down wrong, didn't I? I don't think they're both named Allen. I probably wrote down their names wrong, to be honest. But UCA is doing good right now. Bears are doing good, have won 2 out of their last 3 as far as this past weekend. Then softball, also a series victory against Austin P, including a Matty Young grand slam yesterday, which was pretty cool to see. They've won every conference series but one, which I think many expected UCA to be a pretty good team in their conference in the ASUN this season, and now we've seen that. And I think they have maybe one conference series, one last series left until the conference tournament. I think they have a conference tournament. I would assume so. And again, just like Little Rock, hopefully they can bolster their record, play good at the right time, and make it on to the NCAA tournament. And Arkansas State, before we move on to football, let's talk about their baseball win over Georgia State. They swept them. 6-4 win on Friday, 6-5 win on Saturday, and then their second most runs of the season, 13-4. A sweeping of Georgia State. And Georgia State's not amazing. They're not awful. They're a middle-of-the-line team, kind of like Arkansas State. It's a good win for the Red Wolves to knock off Georgia State. Now for football. The Red Wolves had their spring game over the weekend. Butch Jones entering his 5th season with the Red Wolves. They're coming off a bowl victory in the 68 Ventures Bowl against Bowling Green. Yes, I said bowl like 3 times. That's just how it works. And a winning season for the Red Wolves as well. But that was last year. It's a new year, a new team for this program. Obviously, they did some work in the transfer portal, so we'll talk about them more in the fall as football season gets closer. But they wrapped up the spring practices. They had their spring game Saturday, and here's what Coach Jones had to say after it.
I thought a fairly clean game. We had full Sun Belt officiating crew, so anytime we get an opportunity to have officials here. We have to make it worthwhile. So, we didn't really turn the football over much. We had the strip sack, but I wanted a clean game on offense, but on defense, obviously, we got to continue to take care of the football. I thought we did a better job of tackling in the open space. So I thought that was progression from practice 1 to practice 14. So I thought that was good. So really, really productive.
All right, so that is the Red Wolves football team finishing up spring ball game. We'll talk about that more once the fall rolls around or late summer. Right now, it's all eyes on this Arkansas baseball team. Can they rebound? They should be able to against Missouri State. They actually play in Springfield tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, the game on ESPN+. The Hogs, they need to rebound. Obviously, to get this win would be nice, but then after this game against Missouri State, again, they've got the #1 team in the country coming to their place. We'll be there in Fayetteville for coverage of that between Arkansas and Texas. Well, that's going to do it for Luttie's Look Back. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really enjoyed this show, talking baseball, softball, and a little bit of football as well with the NFL draft. It's been a fun show. We'll see you same time, same place next week. We'll see you then.